So a couple days back, I was able to check out American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story. So let's talk about it. American Underdog tells the story of Kurt Warner, a real-life NFL player, and his very unlikely journey to becoming an NFL player. Be sure to join me down below in the comments section. Let me know, what did you think about American Underdog? Likewise, kind of give a point of reference. Are you an NFL fan? Are you a Kurt Warner fan? Are you a fan of the Erwin brothers, the directors of this film? This is a faith-based film in a certain sense, in that the directors come from a faith-based background. There are certainly touches of Kurt Warner's and his wife's faith inside of the film, but it very much plays as a sports drama underdog story with people that happen to have faith as an important part of their life. So as we go into this, kind of as you leave your comments, kind of give that point of reference where you kind of interpret some of those elements to the film. And when it comes to this movie, I feel like how you receive this film depends greatly on how you interpret the trailer. If you watch the trailer for this movie and kind of roll your eyes at yet another underdog sports story about this rags to riches tale of someone that has an unlikely journey to success in sports, if you just roll your eyes at us getting another one of those stories, this movie's probably not going to be for you. If you watch the trailer and you go, that looks like a really inspiring, heartwarming story of, dedication, you'll probably really enjoy this film. It is exactly what it looks like. Kurt Warner's real-life story fits nicely into the underdog sports genre. He just has one of those insane, unlikely journeys to incredible success. And there were weird detours in his life. There were personal setbacks. There's tragedy in the mix. And it's all the stuff that fits perfectly into a film format. And so if you're not tired of the underdog sports movie formula, you'll probably dig this movie. Other things to kind of say about it, it definitely leans much more into the family side. Like, it's about Kurt Warner, the family man, just as much as it's about Kurt Warner, NFL superstar. And just like, not wanting to give too much away, him making it to the NFL, that's very late in the story. It is about the journey to get there. The NFL stuff is just the payoff at the end of the film. It's all about kind of his journey, his failures, his setbacks, his dedication, not just to sports, but much more so really to kind of his family situation. And, for some people that'll be like, why are we spending so much time with these kids? But that's at the heart of kind of what makes him compelling. And I obviously don't know the guy. I haven't read his biography, and I don't know a ton about him. But that seems like that's the stuff that kind of adds the spice, where he's not just... There's a lot of people out there that sacrifice everything to be successful at sports, movie, Hollywood, all that stuff. But I think the thing that kind of drew the Erwin brothers, kind of the guys that directed some of these faith-based films, drew them to his story is that he had like a similar dedication to this lady that he fell in love with and her family, and then his faith. And so he's not just another workaholic that burned all bridges to be successful. He's someone that managed to have a family while also pursuing fantastic dreams and being successful at them. And I think that's kind of what really fleshes out his journey in an interesting way. Now, back to kind of the Erwin brothers. I don't think I've seen their other films. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah, I missed... I saw Mom's Night Out. I did see that one. My sister showed me that one back when that one came out. But I can only imagine I Still Believe I missed them. I was actually kind of interested in I Still Believe because it's... it's about Jeremy Camp, and I listened to a lot of Jeremy Camp back in the day. And so he has a real kind of tragic story. So I was interested in that one, but then with COVID, I didn't end up seeing it with the way the world played out. But I haven't seen their other films, so I can't really comment too much on their style or anything like that. I mean, it's professionally done. It certainly has no shortage of syrup on top of it. It's playing for all the sentimentality, the tragedy, all that stuff. It's not subtle with the way that it kind of does things. But it's not bad. Some people might compare it to, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, it looks like a made for TV movie. And if you mean in the sense that you know exactly what emotion they're going for in each sequence and what you're supposed to feel, I mean, it's certainly heavy-handed in that regard, but I think it's a journey, it's a story that also lends itself to a very straightforward translation to the screen. Final thing I kind of wanted to talk about on this one, or final few things I want to talk about on this one. I think the big question you always have with a movie that kind of does fall under the faith-based category is how heavy-handed is it, how preachy does it get, things like that. And that's one of the reasons I don't cover a lot of faith-based films is I just don't like any movies that get preachy, even if I agree with the thing that they're preaching. And this one certainly isn't a preachy movie whatsoever. There's a couple moments where when it touches on the faith-based elements, I certainly was like, oh, really? That's the way we're going to do this. But it's only a few times. Like when there's a conversation between Kurt and the lady friend in it, and she's talking about church and faith and how it kind of got her through really horrible kind of stuff. And he's like, wow, you're really into religion. And she turns to him and goes, well, it's not really about religion. It's about a relationship. When I hear lines like that, I roll my eyes. I get it. I was a pastor for 8 years. I get it. I know what you're saying. I know why you're saying it. But it's literally church world cliches, and they throw it in the movie like that, like as a line of dialogue. Like, and she might have actually said that. People really like in church, people really would potentially say something like that. But in the movie, it rings like, oh, really, where we're going with this. And then there's one other kind of line, something like this. But it's like a couple lines. That's it. There's a couple of lines that made me go, God, really, we're going getting that heavy-handed with this. For the most part, faith was just important to these two people. Therefore, it's a part of their story. It's not anything that if you're not a Christian, if you're not a faith person, you're not going to watch this movie and be like, why do they keep preaching at me? It's not like that at all. It is very much just a story about these people that are people of faith. And there's a couple lines that I didn't like the way they were written or handled, but it's a couple of lines. For the most part, it's anyone I think could watch this and enjoy it. And I think to kind of go a couple more things, talking about Zachary Levi in the lead, it's just nice to see him in something that doesn't rely on him being funny and him being a grown-up child. Of course, he's famous for Chuck in Shazam. Those are the two big, gigantic things that he's had. And so in Chuck, that's kind of the fun of it. He's this grown-up trying to figure out what to do with his life becomes a spy. And so he's like a grown-up acting goofy. And then Shazam, he's literally a child in a superhero's body. And he's so good at that. And that's his usual bag of tricks that he's known for. And it's just really great to see just his dramatic side where he could be likable, but he has to be likable and charming without being a little grown-up kid. Like, you don't have any of that side of him really in this movie. He's just a very different type of performance. And so it's very happy to see him doing something like that. And it was very convincing even as kind of the football guy, which is kind of fun when you think, Chuck, the whole concept of this nerdy guy working at a Best Buy-esque store, meant to be awkward and nerdy, the guy that you don't think is going to be a spy, and then totally convincing as NFL quarterback. That, actors, that's what they do. They take over different parts, but so that one worked for me. Wow, I've been talking about this movie for a long time. That's what's fun about this second channel is that I can go a little bit longer and not feel concerned about things like that. So all in all, as someone that didn't really know Kurt Warner's story going into the movie besides, the bullet points, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. It's not great cinema. It's not one of the great sports movies of all time, but it's a good cinematic version of a real life story that's perfectly designed for this sort of interpretation. It markets itself as a faith-based film a little bit, but it's not really. There's just a couple lines in there, and that's just something that's true about the people that are at the center of the story. So if you're someone that is tired of this formula, it's probably not going to be the right movie for you. But if you're not concerned about that, if you're not someone that rolls your eyes at movies that fit neatly into the underdog formula, you'll probably enjoy this film. It'll hit all the right notes. It did for me as you kind of moved into the third act and had all the payoff of everything. It absolutely worked for me. And, you know, I actually went to go see it with my mom. My wife wanted to go see it, but she couldn't because she was out of town last week. And then I had like 1,000 babysitters last week to go see Spider-Man 2 times and see The Matrix. And so it kind of burned through all of our babysitters last week. So I couldn't take my wife. It took my mom, and my mom thoroughly enjoyed it. But it's the sort of movie that's like, oh, I can't wait to go watch this with my wife. I think she'll really enjoy this movie. That was actually what I was thinking leaving the theater. I can't wait to watch this one again with my wife. Like I said, not a great movie. It delivers. It's a good movie that delivers what you want. It delivers on the template, the formula. I'll give this one a B. I think that's a fair rating for what I felt about it. Not great cinema, not fantastic in the sense of like amazing cinema, but properly delivers what you want from a movie like this. Nice performance from Zachary Levi. Also Anna Paquin, Rogue. You believe in the kind of this relationship between the two of them. So a B, I think that's the right score for me to give this one. It hit all the right notes for me while not bringing anything new to the genre. If you're okay with that it's not doing anything new, it's just using the formula to tell a guy's story that fits the formula, I think you'll enjoy this film. Let me know what you thought down below. Keep talking movies too much.